Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second of our Thursday morning worship times. I've got another favourite funny story to share with you this morning. This time it's written by one of my favourite authors, Dick King-Smith. He wrote lots and lots of really good books. So if you've never got into Dick King-Smith, it's something that would be worth doing. He was a farmer, so he wrote lots of books about animals. He was also a soldier. He was a primary school teacher, but he's most famous for being a top children's author. He actually wrote the book The Sheep Pig, which was then later turned into the film Babe, which you might well have watched. He also wrote The Water Horse, which was also turned into a film, The Hodgehog, and lots more books, too many by far to list this morning. But do have a look for Dick King-Smith if you've not already read a lot of his books. Right, we've actually got quite a few of them in our school library as well. Now, the story I'm going to read to you this morning comes from this book by Dick King-Smith, as you can see. It's called Animal Stories, and it's full of animal stories. Really quite amusing stories, lots of them. And I'm going to choose one of my favourites for you, which is entitled The Happiest Woodlouse. So I hope you enjoy this. Walter was a wimp. He was scared of his own shadow. Always had been since he was tiny. No matter that he was now a really big woodlouse, with 14 strong legs and a fine coat of armour, Walter was still afraid of everything and anything. Spiders, black beetles, centipedes, earwigs, whatever kind of creature he met frightened the life out of him, so that he rolled himself into a ball and he wouldn't unroll again for ages. Even with other woodlice, he was just the same. Every time he met one, he rolled up and stayed rolled up until the patter of 14 feet had died away in the distance. You can easily understand why Walter had no friends. "I would like to make a friend," he said to himself. "I would like to be able to have a good chat with someone. Crack a joke or two, perhaps. Must be nice to have a pal. If only I wasn't so nervous." At that moment, he heard someone approaching the large flat stone under which he was sheltering, and hastily he curled himself into a ball. The footsteps came nearer, and suddenly, to his horror, Walter felt himself being nudged. It was the sort of hefty nudge, Walter thought, that some fierce creature might give a wretched woodlouse before picking it up and swallowing it whole. But then he heard a voice. It was a jolly voice, which did not sound fierce, but friendly. "Wakey, wakey," said the voice. "What's a chap like you doing all curled up on a nice sunny day like this, eh?" "Could this be the friend I've been waiting for?" thought Walter. "What are you?" he said in somewhat muffled tones, for it's hard to speak clearly when you're curled up in a ball. "I'm a woodlouse, of course, like you," said the voice. "Come on, unroll, why don't you? Anyone would think you were afraid of something." "If you only knew," said Walter to himself. "I'm afraid of everything." But all the same, he unrolled to find himself face to face with a woodlouse of about his own size, but of a slightly different colour. Walter was slaty grey. This stranger was paler, sort of brownish in fact, and freckled all over. Walter waved his antennae. "Hello," he said. "I'm Walter." "Hi," said the stranger, waving back. He looks a decent sort of chap, thought Walter. Well, it's now or never. So he took a deep breath and said, "Will you be my friend?" "My," said the freckly stranger, "you're a fast worker." "How do you mean?" said Walter. "You don't waste time, do you? No remarks about the weather, no polite chit-chat, just will you be my friend? fair takes a girl's breath away. A girl? Thought Walter. I just wanted to have a pal to have a chat with and crack a joke. But a girlfriend? Oh no, I'm frightened of girls. He was just about to curl up again when the stranger said, "Okay." Walter hesitated. "Okay what?" he said. "Okay, I'll be your friend, Walter. I've seen worse looking woodlice than you. By the way, my name's Marilyn." "Oh," said Walter. He wiggled several pairs of legs nervously. "I'm pleased to meet you," he said. "You're a funny boy," said Marilyn, with a light laugh, and she moved forward until her antennae brushed gently against his. At this touch, something like an electric shock ran through every plate of Walter's armour, and he found himself suddenly very short of breath. "Come on," said Marilyn. "Let's go for a stroll." Ordinarily, Walter never came out from beneath his large flat stone till nightfall. Spiders and black beetles and centipedes and earwigs were frightening enough. But in daylight, out in the open, there was far worse danger. Birds. Birds with sharp eyes and sharper beaks that snapped up spiders and black beetles and centipedes and earwigs and woodlice. "Can't we wait till after dark, Marilyn?" he said. Marilyn giggled. "Oh, you are a one," she said, and out she went and off along the garden path. Despite himself, Walter followed. He was frightened, terrified indeed, but he hurried after Marilyn as fast as his 7 pairs of legs could carry him. How beautiful she was, he now could see. Her long antennae, the slender legs, each delicate joint of her freckled carapace, all were perfection. Here, in the wide open spaces of the garden, death might threaten, but without Marilyn, thought Walter, life would not be worth living. "Wait for me!" he called. But even as he spoke, he saw, to his horror, that in the middle of the path ahead there squatted a huge, slimy monster. "Marilyn!" he cried out. "Watch out!" And hastily he rolled himself into a ball. Miserably he waited, tightly curled. Cruel fate, thought Walter. I meet the love of my life, and within minutes she walks down a monster's throat. If only I were brave, I might have tackled the brute. But I'm not. Alas, I'm not. Then a voice said, "Are you coming, Walter, or aren't you?" "What were you playing at?" said Marilyn, when sheepishly he caught up with her. Of the monster there was no sign but a trail of slime across the flagstones. Walter gulped. I thought I saw a monster," he said. "Monster?" said Marilyn. "That was only an old slug. Mind where you're putting your feet. The path's all sticky." They walked on, off the path, and onto a rosebed under whose bushes was a scattering of old leaves. On these they began to browse side by side. "Walter," said Marilyn. "Yes, Marilyn?" "You've got a yellow streak, haven't you?" Walter did not answer. "Not to mince words," said Marilyn. "You're a chicken-hearted scaredy cat and a cowardy custard, aren't you?" "Yes," said Walter. "Well, at least you've been honest with me," said Marilyn. "So I'll do the same for you. Let's just forget the friendship bit. You're a nice boy, but if there's one thing I can't stand, it's a wimp. No hard feelings, eh?" "But, Marilyn," said Walter. "Yes?" I love you." For a moment, Marilyn gazed thoughtfully at Walter. Such a good-looking fellow, but no backbone. Shame, really. Sorry, Walter, she said. See you around, maybe. And she turned to go. As she did so, Walter saw the thrush come hopping through the rosebed, straight towards her. Even as he tensed his muscles to roll himself into a ball, something snapped in his brain, and instead he rushed forward on his 14 powerful legs. Roll up, quick! He shouted at Marilyn, shoving her out of his way. And then, as instinctively she obeyed, Walter made directly for the huge bird. Take me, he cried. Take me, you brute! Spare my Marilyn! The thrush put its head on one side, the better to focus upon this foolhardy woodlouse, when it saw from the corner of its other eye a fat worm. Leaving Walter for afters, it picked up the worm and swallowed it. As it was doing so, a large tabby cat came strolling down the garden path, waving its tail, and the thrush flew hastily away. All clear, cried Walter, and Marilyn unrolled. You saved my life, she breathed. Oh, well, I don't know about that, said Walter in an embarrassed voice. Well, you jolly well tried to, said Marilyn. You were ready to sacrifice yourself to protect me, weren't you? Yes, said Walter. Marilyn stared at her gallant knight in armour. To think, she said to herself, that I called him a cowardy custard. Her heart swelled within her bosom, and she went weak at the knees, all 14 of them. Oh, Walter, she said softly, I am yours, all yours. Oh, Marilyn, said Walter, you have made me the happiest woodlouse in the world. I hope you enjoyed that. Poor old Walter really struggled with his confidence, didn't he? But he came good in the end, and he and Marilyn lived happily ever after. Walter just needed to be a little bit braver, to take a bit of a risk. One of our school values is confidence, and it's so important that we have the confidence to try new things or do things that we might think are going to be difficult. Walter worried about everything, didn't he? Taking a walk, meeting different creatures, even meeting other woodlice. And he was definitely too nervous to even speak to a girl. But in the end, he took a risk. He did something that was out of his comfort zone and actually was very brave. And things turned out all the better for him. Sometimes we need to be brave, whether it's with our schoolwork, having a go at something we think might be difficult, or putting our hand up in class when we're not sure we've got the right answer, or perhaps reaching out to make friends with someone, just like Walter did in the end. If we try to be confident, take sensible risks, learn from our mistakes, then we will be able to achieve so much more. Right, now if you'd like to, I'm going to invite you to pray with me. Today's prayer is from the confidence section of our school book of prayers. It was written by Casey in year 4. So shall we pray? Dear Lord, help me to be confident and to believe in myself, even when things are hard. Give us the strength to encourage others to grow in their confidence, and help us to be the best we can be at all times. Amen. Thank you to Casey, a perfect prayer for today's worship. Okay, that's the end of our worship for today. Don't forget to send in your pictures or posters of a chosen Bible verse by tomorrow, ready for Monday's worship. Or if you prefer, send in a video of you reciting the verse from memory. Thanks to those that have already sent some in. Well done. Take care. See you soon. God bless.